What's going on, family? Josh here back in the dojo. Today is Friday, December 10th, and I'm here in the studio trying to create some art and some soul nurturing content. Two things. Thing one, I have a show that I've been producing for a few years now where I interview, I guess you can call it an interview, but it's more of a showcase. Usually my guests are entrepreneurs, artists, thought leaders, health and wellness experts, coaches, things like that. And for more than half the shows, I started to do a segment called like a lightning round, like where, say like a game show would have like a lightning round where they'll say like a name, right, or a word, and then the person recites the first sentence or two that comes to mind, right? So I started doing that for like half the shows, and I wanted to do something similar, but in a different format, right? So I have a list of words here, a piece of paper in front of me. And what I'm going to do, instead of, asking questions and having somebody recite to me the first sentence or two that comes to mind, I'm going to go to a particular website that I get quotes from all the time. And I'm going to find five or so quotes from each word and read them as thing two. Remember, I said two things, right? Thing two, as I zip through the city. So this is my e-bike, which I love. And as I'm riding my bike, it sort of has like the shower effect. How people say they get like great ideas when they hit the shower. I get great ideas when I'm on my bike, right? Just I guess it's the fresh air and like the freedom of riding the bike and being around people and seeing different parts of the city. So it's always a vibe, and I always have like, I feel like profound ideas on the bike. So what I wanted to do is be creative and combine the two. So as you get the visuals, if you want to, like especially people in Philly would probably appreciate this. But as you watch me zip around the city from point A to point B, I'm actually going from home to the office. As you watch me do that, I want to feed your soul and feed your spirit with just some quotes, right? From our counterparts in the human race. You know what I mean? So if this sounds like something you'd be interested in, or if you watch it and you find, if you get some value, don't be shy about subscribing. My YouTube channel is called Moved by the Message. Head on over to Moved by the Message. Give me that follow, give me that subscribe, give me that hit that like button that and follow, all my notifications, all that good stuff. If you find stuff like this valuable or entertaining, or if it just puts you to sleep, maybe this is like something you feed your spirit with as you, drift off to bed and stuff like that. So with that being said, y'all, sit back, relax. Let's get into this. And the first word is failure. Now here we go. Failure is not always a mistake. It may simply be the best one can do under the circumstances. The real mistake is not trying. Failure is the key to success. Each mistake teaches us something. Success is not built on success. It's built on failure. It's built on frustration. Sometimes it's built on catastrophe. It's fine to celebrate success, but it is more important to heed the lessons of failure. Mistakes are the portals of discovery. Every failure is a step to success. Do not be embarrassed by your failures. Learn from them and start again. I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I can't accept not trying. A man can fail many times, but he isn't a failure until he begins to blame somebody else. It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well have not lived at all, in which case you have failed by default. You are capable of more than you know. Choose a goal that seems right for you and strive to be the best, however hard the path. Aim high, behave honorably. Prepare to be alone at times and to endure failure. Persist. The world needs all you can give. An essential aspect of creativity is not being afraid to fail. next word is solitude. Let's get it. Loneliness is the poverty of self. Solitude is the richness of self. Whoever is delighted in solitude is either a wild beast or a god. Solitude is pleasant. Loneliness is not. A man can be himself only so long as he is alone. And if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom. For it is only when he is alone that he is really free. In solitude, the mind gains strength and learns to lean upon itself. Loneliness expresses the pain of being alone, and solitude expresses the glory of being alone. Solitude has its own very strange beauty to it. There is a fellowship more quiet even than solitude, and which, rightly understood, is solitude made perfect. Your inner voice is the voice of divinity. To hear it, we need to be in solitude, even in crowded spaces. All right, the next word is relationships. Nothing is perfect. Life is messy. Relationships are complex. Outcomes are uncertain. People are irrational. Trust is the glue of life. It is the most essential ingredient in effective communication. It is the foundational principle that holds all relationships. If your emotional abilities aren't in hand, if you don't have self-awareness, if you are not able to manage your distressing emotions, if you can't have empathy and have effective relationships, then no matter how smart you are not going to get very far. Assumptions are the termites of relationships. A good life depends on the strength of your relationships with family, friends, neighbors, colleagues, and strangers. Our minds influence the key activity of the brain, which then influences everything: perception, cognition, thoughts and feelings, personal relationships. They're all a projection of you. We are constituted so that simple acts of kindness, such as giving to charity or expressing gratitude, have a positive effect on our long-term moods. The key to the happy life, it seems, is the good life, a life with sustained relationships, challenging work, and connections to community. The good life is built with good relationships. Money cannot buy peace of mind. It cannot heal ruptured relationships or build meaning into a life that has none. Cherish your human connections, your relationships with friends and family. I think we all have different personalities, and even in relationships, we can be called psycho and we can be called sweet, based on what the person feels about you. All right, and that's relationships. Let's move on to word number 4, which is the big F word, fear. Here goes. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. Fear keeps us focused on the past or worried about the future. If we can acknowledge our fear, we can realize that right now we are okay. Right now, today, we are still alive, and our bodies are working marvelously. Our eyes can still see the beautiful sky. Our ears can still hear the voices of our loved ones. Ultimately, we know deeply that the other side of fear is freedom. The oldest and the strongest emotion of mankind is fear. And the oldest and the strongest kind of fear is the fear of the unknown. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. I may be compelled to face danger, but I never fear it. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Humble souls are fearful of their own strength. Have no fear of perfection. You'll never reach it. Great work is done by people who are not afraid to be great. I think fearless is having fears but jumping anyway. Show me a guy who's afraid to look bad, and I'll show you a guy you can beat every time. I have learned over the years that when one's mind is made up, this diminishes fear. Knowing what must be done does away with fear. Thinking will not overcome fear, but action will. We fear things in proportion to our ignorance of them. Always do what you are afraid to do. All right, folks, that's what we call fear, the big F word. Let's go from one F word to another. This one is called faith. Faith is to believe what you do not see. The reward of this faith is to see what you believe. To one who has faith, no explanation is necessary. To one without faith, no explanation is possible. When you focus on being a blessing, God makes sure that you're always blessed in abundance. In my deepest, darkest moments, what really got me through was prayer. Sometimes my prayer was, help me. Sometimes a prayer was, thank you. What I've discovered is that intimate connection and communication with my Creator will always get me through because I know my support, my help is just a prayer away. Pray as though everything depended on God. Work as though everything depended on you. Seeds of faith are always within us. Sometimes it takes a crisis to nourish and encourage them. Faith is not belief without proof, but trust without reservation. Faith and prayer are the vitamins of the soul. Man cannot live in health without them. Faith gives you an inner strength and a sense of balance and perspective in life. God will never give you anything you can't handle, so don't stress. It takes vision and courage to create. It takes faith and courage to prove. If you have God on your side, everything becomes clear. To have faith is to trust yourself to the water. When you swim, you don't grab hold of the water, because if you do, you will sink down. Instead, you relax and float. If fear is cultivated, it will become stronger. If faith is cultivated, it will achieve mastery. Faith is the strength by which a shattered world will emerge into the light. Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. All right, family, this concludes today's ride and today's episode. I hope that these words were encouraging and nourishing to your soul. If you like what you heard or what you saw, feel free to subscribe to Move by the Message. That is my YouTube channel. That's where I'll be parking and posting all of this content. As always, y'all, ABC, always be creating, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.